Pokemon is effectively dead. When I look at what gets produced from a Pokemon game nowadays, I think the outlier was Pokemon Legends of Arceus. That was actually a very good step in the right direction and actually gave me a little bit of hope. And then I seen more and more stuff come out about the new Legends game, and I'm like, you took everything about that, what you should have learned from the first game, and just chuck that out the window and says, let's make a worse game. Let's take a step back. You want to know one of the best things about Legends of Arceus? It was that open world and then seeing the new biomes. Why the hell did you make it this whole new game take place in a city? You know, a lot of people were hoping, oh, the new one will be in Johto, because then we can see the new Ho-Oh Tower when that burned down. You know, that could be a very good, interesting plot point. Or people were thinking maybe Kanto region. You know, there was probably some stuff that they had said there, talking about Mew and the legendary birds. And Hoenn, what could they do with Hoenn? Like, you know, maybe a Groudon and Kyogre type situation again. You know, which would have been really cool, that happened back in the past. You know, something like that. People could have been looking forward to exploring that region at the bare minimum in a hub-based world. Not my preference, but you get away with a lot of stuff. So hub world-based game wouldn't have been out of the question, but you didn't do that. You didn't do that. You completely just, in my opinion, you took the piss. And I'm gonna be real. I have absolutely no faith in the future of Pokemon under whoever the hell's making the decisions that allow these type of bad game after bad game after bad game to keep coming out from them. Like, honestly, I know some people defend them saying, oh, but that's what a profitable company do. That's just the way the corporations do things nowadays. First off, that's Western companies. Second off, this is Japan. Third, Nintendo doesn't do it. Yes, Nintendo is known for being anti-consumer and lawsuit excessive, or whatever the heck that, like, they do that. Like what they're doing currently now with Pocket Pair and Pal World. Suing the competitor, because honestly, you know the real reason why Nintendo was suing Pal World? I think they know they don't have a chance of winning. I don't think they think they're going to be able to effectively bankrupt Pocket Pair with how successful they are, and a bunch of companies are investing into Pocket Pair because of the future of the IP, that there might now finally be a Pokemon competitor that over time could start to rival and take market share away from Pokemon, and they want in on that. Nintendo sees this. They're trying to delay it because they know their developers suck. The developers at Pokemon, they suck. Or they're not given enough time. Either way, I don't care. I'm not going to feel sorry for them. You know, that's just the way I see it. I'm a consumer. I want to buy something, and I want good quality games. Pokemon is honestly probably one of, if not my all-time favorite franchises. And when I look at those games, I don't get excited. I'm just like, oh, how are they going to mess this one up? And surprisingly enough, they find brand new, like whole new ways to make me even more disappointed. So, like, until I see otherwise, until I can see consistently good quality games, Pokemon is effectively dead when it comes to the video game side of things. It is. Doesn't matter how good the anime is, doesn't matter how good the merchandise is, it doesn't matter how good the Pokemon TCG is. When it comes to the video game side of things, Pokemon is dead. And to be honest, there's a whole fiasco going on. Like, every time a new Pokemon product drops in the TCG side of things, there's always some big issue about not printing enough, too many scalpers, too many issues, launch after launch after launch. I literally had to subscribe or like leave the subreddit of the Pokemon TCG just because of how annoying that got to see over and over again. Yeah, they're scalping again. Look at these scalpers. And it's just like, oh my god, I know. Just stop buying the dang products and you wouldn't have that problem, but you're not going to. Just like the video game side of things. You guys are too into it, and it's to your own detriment. You know? Buy the quality products, stop buying that. I honestly, like a lot of people think, are you really trying to convince people? No, I'm not. I'm just stating the obvious. After microtransactions, loot boxes, and gacha mechanics have been allowed to infest the video game industry after a much larger backlashes and consistent backlashes, and actually trying to get government people to try and essentially put some laws into place to stop it or prevent it, or basically put an age limit on some of the stuff depending on which country they're from, and nothing really came of it. I have no expectations anything is going to be done. What's going to eventually happen is Nintendo and Pokemon are going to come across a competitor or multiple competitors that start doing Pokemon-like experiences better than the Pokemon developers, and over time they're going to lose share. They're going to lose market share. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to be one sale that for their Pokemon game, they sell like 100,000 less than typical. Then maybe over after maybe 5-10 years, that might become in the millions of sales less. Still selling insanely well, but it's just going to chip away at their market share, and they're no longer going to be dominant or as dominant as they are now. And that's assuming, nothing comes out there that has the same level of hype that gets, behind Pokemon. Like that zeitgeist moment. That's the main reason why Pokemon is so big. Is so they had that huge moment in the 90s that just, it was one of the biggest world crazes I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. When I went to school, so many people had Game Boy Colors playing honestly, half the kids in my school had a Game Boy Color and were playing. Actually, maybe even more than half. Maybe some of them that you didn't even see them do that. But they had those games. And by the way, I'm going to tell you something. It was in a Lutheran private school. Yeah. It wasn't in a public school. It was in a Lutheran private school. Where you have to pay a little bit more to get in. And every Wednesday, during the school, every Wednesday, all the kids from all the grades, from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade, because they only went up to middle school, we would go into the church, sit down in the pews, and have an hour and a half sermon before class started. And you want to know something? The fact that over half of those people had Game Boy Colors playing Pokemon says something. That's how big of a moment. It just basically transcended the whole religion thing. Because I remember some people were saying, oh, Pokemon is the devil's something or another. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's going to work out for you too well. Too many people like it. It's not really that crazy or anything like that. No. So, yeah, the fact that that's how big it was back then, pre-internet era, it's gotten only bigger since. Because for a while there, probably until the Nintendo DS era, they were consistently hitting it out of the park. I think their worst mistake is they try to go 3D instead of hiring a team dedicated. What they should have done is that the current developers should have kept on refining the way they had it going, with Pokemon, and keep that old style. And then they should have hired a separate team to work on the 3D aspects of Pokemon with some oversight from the people who created Pokemon, so you could kind of work your way up to the point where You could have the older school Pokemon like experience and a 3D Pokemon experience, kind of like how with Mario you have a 2D platformer and the 3D platformer. I think that would have been overall better for Pokemon. And to be honest, I think they should go back that road. I honestly think they should have a team dedicated to the 3D aspect and have a team dedicated to the older style aspect. And honestly, I like this is one of the IPs that I've decided a while back. Pokemon Legends Arceus made me think, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll give them another chance. They it looks good. A lot of people are liking it. Gave it a shot. Put 80 hours into it. Had a blast collecting all the Pokemon, and I was actually looking forward to this new Legends game, and they completely failed on all accounts. So, essentially, I have absolutely no interest in it. I have no interest in the next Pokemon games coming out. In my eyes, it's just going to be the same old, good enough to sell millions, following whatever formula that they decide to choose, and overall just not really take it to the next level. Not really, create their. I mean, I take that back. Apparently, there was a leak about some open world game or was it some open world survival knockoff, or I can't remember what it was. Honestly, it obviously wasn't good enough to where people were like, "Oh my god, this looks good. This leak looks good." It was just them more people clowning on Pokemon, which usually is a sign that it's not good enough, and I just have no hope in Pokemon. I am completely writing off the Pokemon games. If they come out with the Legends of Arceus game, great. But I'm no longer talking, like, I'm not going to focus on, like, looking forward to Pokemon games. Like, like, there's certain IPs where you're like, oh, I can't wait for the next one. For example, I can't wait for the next Dragon Quest game, Dragon Quest 12. I can't wait for the next Dragon Quest Builders if they're working on one. I can't wait for them to eventually get around to remastering or remaking Dragon Quest 8. That's one series that I'm looking forward to a lot of their games. I'm looking forward to seeing what they remaster or remake next in the Final Fantasy franchise. Maybe they remaster Final Fantasy Tactics Advance and the Nintendo DS one. I think it was Tactics Advance 2. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking to see what they're going to do for their next Final Fantasy 17, whenever the heck that comes out. Devil May Cry 6. I'm looking to see how that looks. So there's a lot of games out there, that IPs that I still look forward to. Pokemon is no longer one of them. At least when it comes to the gaming side of things. And TCG side of things. I have no interest in that either. But, yeah. So, how many people out there is Pokemon dead to in the video game side of things? Is Pokemon dead to you? Like, do you, like, have absolutely no interest in the Pokemon video games? If a sleeper hit comes out, just says, here, I'm good. But expect the next 5 games to come out to be bad or average. Then, yeah. Honestly, I could probably rant on this for, like, hours on end. I'm not going to. I'll spare you the agony. That's pretty much it. See ya.